Hi students, welcome to Alpo's e-learning chemistry classes for first year. The running chapter is stoichiometry and now we are in session number 18. In previous session we discussed about the oxidation number, how to find the oxidation number, what are the rules to find the oxidation number, and thereafter we observed that in finding the oxidation number by following the rules, we require the information related to oxidation numbers of at least few elements that present, in case if they are present in the given compound, except the unknown element. For the remaining elements, the oxidation state should be known to us. Then only it is possible to find the oxidation number of that element. That means it is not at all possible to find the oxidation number of different elements at a time in the given compound. Is it not? We discussed all these. Now in this session we are continuing the discussion. In previous session we covered the oxidation numbers of the elements, how to predict their oxidation numbers from their group numbers. Just let us have a briefing on that, and thereafter we will continue further information related to oxidation numbers, and then we will discuss about the redox reaction, a special kind of reaction that is nothing but oxidation and reduction reactions. And before entering into that, we will familiarize with the reagents, that is nothing but whether the given compound is oxidant or reductant, what is oxidation, what is reduction, all these we have to discuss in this session. Clear? And now let us move to have a briefing of previous session. It is nothing but what we learned in previous session is oxidation number from group number. From group number, how it is? It is nothing but 1A to 7th A group, that is subgroup numbers we should know, not the continuation number. 1 to 18 is not useful here. It is just subgroup numbers 1A to 7A. And now if that is group number of element is less than 4, then what we studied? If the group number of the element is less than 4, then what is oxidation state? Just you remember, supposed to exhibit only invariable oxidation states. Invariable oxidation states. Just you remember, invariable means, variable means more than one kind of oxidation state, but invariable means it is only one kind of oxidation state. That means whatever the compound it may be, generally in the inception, that is nothing but initially what we learn is the oxidation state of the elements may differ in different compounds, but it is not always true, because in some elements are there, that is nothing but the elements from first A and second A group. These elements always exhibit the same kind of oxidation state, whatever the compound they are present. Clear? And like that, it is when exhibiting a constant or a fixed oxidation state, it is said to be invariable oxidation state. And these elements, that is the elements with group number less than 4, are supposed to exhibit that invariable oxidation states. Clear? And now in such a case, the oxidation number is equal to group number. Directly we are giving like this, group number. And for example, first A group elements, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, all these are having +1 oxidation state. Already you are familiar with these group members. In previous discussion also we are having the idea. And second A group, this is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium and barium. All these exhibit +2 oxidation state. Clear? And now coming to third A group, it is boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. They are exhibiting +3. And now, from if group number is greater than 4 or equal to 4, then what we are considering, they exhibit variable oxidation states. Variable oxidation states or oxidation numbers means they exhibit more than one kind of oxidation states. Clear? And now in this case what we learned from it is exhibiting the minimum oxidation state is group number -8. In such a case, for 4th A group we are getting, it is nothing but 4 minus 8 minus 4 for 4th A group, and 5 minus 8 that is -3 for 5th A group, and 6 minus 8 that is -2 for 6th A group, and 7 minus 8 that is -1 for 7th A group. Like that we are having the minimum oxidation states with the formula group number -8. And now coming to the maximum oxidation states. Maximum oxidation state is equal to group number, and when it is group number, it is 4 for 4th A group, 5 for 5th A group, 6 for 7th A group, and 7 for 7th A group. 4 for 4th A, 5 for 5th A, 6 for 6th A, and 7 for 7th A group. Clear? It is all positive, and minimum oxidation states all are negative oxidation states. Now this already we discussed in previous session. Now we have to consider, or we have to cover in this session, different exceptional cases where we can find exceptions in these group regular variations, and we have to find few elements which are used or which are present frequently in the regular compounds, in our regular example compounds. We have to consider their variation and their different possible oxidation states. All these we have to discuss in this, and thereafter the D block elements and F block elements general idea. With all that we will get thorough idea about the oxidation numbers, and then if any other unknown element is given in a compound, we can easily calculate the oxidation number of that given element with these informations. Clear? Are you clear with all this, dear students? Are you following all this? Just you should memorize, you should keep in your mind about this information. In case if group number is less than 4, they exhibit invariable oxidation state. That means they are exhibiting a fixed oxidation state in all their compounds. And if the group number is greater than or equal to 4, they are exhibiting variable oxidation states. Variable oxidation states means in different compounds they are exhibiting different oxidation states. There is scope for it. Clear? And now in case if they are exhibiting variable oxidation state, then also we are finding some sort of limitation for the oxidation state range. That is nothing but they are exhibiting the maximum and minimum. In between these two, so many oxidation states are possible, because as oxidation state may be 0, may be fractional even. That's why, and it is negative, positive, fractional, all possibilities are there for oxidation states. Already you know it. And because of that, here we have to find the limitation, the range. That range is minimum and maximum oxidation states. For any element, the minimum and maximum oxidation states we can find from their group number. That is nothing but, in case of minimum oxidation state, it is equal to group number -8. And for respective groups, we are getting the negative oxidation states as the minimum oxidation state. And in case if we are coming to maximum oxidation number, then it is simply equal to the group number. Are you clear with this one? And now let us move to exceptions for each group. And in case of first year and second year group, there is no exception. In all their compounds, if the element is from first year group, they always exhibit +1 oxidation state. And in case of second year group also, we never find any deviation from this oxidation states. So we need not worry about the S block elements which are of supposed to exhibit +1 and +2 oxidation states. And as you know, first year and second year group elements are otherwise known as S block elements. Clear? And now coming to third year. In third year group, boron, it is deviating from its regular oxidation state sometimes. Here general oxidation state of boron is +3, no doubt at all. But when it is with metals, then it exhibit -3 oxidation state. For example, nickel boride, Ni3B2, or in case if it is magnesium boride, Mg3B2. Like that, when it is with metal, in metal boride, you remember, RID, boride, it can exhibit metal boride, it exhibit -3 oxidation state. That is the exception for boron. In all the remaining elements or in all the remaining compounds, it can exhibit positive, but only in metal borides it is supposed to exhibit minus oxidation state. And next, coming to the another element from the same group, that is nothing but thallium. Already we discussed about it. Indium and thallium. Let us consider this, indium and thallium. Actually these should exhibit +3 oxidation state. Clear? But these two are supposed to exhibit +1 oxidation state also. Not only +3, that means these are exhibiting variable oxidation states. Not only +3, they can also exhibit +1. Clear? And now the reason for this is nothing but already we discussed, inert pair effect. Okay, you will learn about this inert pair effect in periodic table. You need not worry about that. But the reason you should remember why these thallium and indium are exhibiting +1 oxidation state in addition to +3. Actually, as per their group number, they should exhibit only +3. But here they are supposed to exhibit sometimes +1 oxidation state also. And the reason for that is inert pair effect. And you remember, in coming sessions, in coming chapters, we are going to find out of these oxidation states which is more stable, in which element which is more stable. Clear? Now here we need not consider that because it is beyond the scope of the discussion. Clear? And now next one is fourth group, fourth A group. That means now we are coming to the elements that exhibit variable oxidation states. In fourth group, carbon is supposed to exhibit -4, +4 oxidation states. -4 and +4 oxidation state, minimum and maximum oxidation state. And you remember, when carbon is in connection with more electropositive elements, that is nothing but metal carbides. In metal carbides, it is supposed to exhibit minus oxidation state, and in all its normal compounds, it exhibit +4. Clear? And in this fourth A group also, carbon, silicon, it always exhibit only +4. Germanium +4. Tin, lead. And now coming to these two elements, similar to that of previous group, generally they should exhibit +4 oxidation state as per the group number. maximum oxidation state. Clear? But these two are also able to exhibit +2 oxidation states. That is, in addition to +4 oxidation state, they are able to exhibit +2 oxidation state. The reason behind, again the same, it is nothing but inert pair effect. Because of this inert pair effect, they are able to exhibit +2 oxidation state in addition to +4 oxidation state. Clear? And now coming to 5th A group. In 5th A group, most frequently appearing element is nitrogen, and thereby we should have an idea about that nitrogen. 5th A group elements. Dear students, are you having idea about these group elements? Let me give that. It is nothing but nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. These are the elements that present in 5th A group. And now nitrogen, it can exhibit, all these elements are supposed to exhibit minimum oxidation state. Generally minimum oxidation state -3 and maximum oxidation state is +5. In between they can exhibit the oxidation states. Clear? And now let us consider nitrogen. Nitrogen can exhibit -3, -2, -1, -1/3, 0, +1, +2, +3, +4 and +5 oxidation. All these are possible. The maximum variability we are finding in nitrogen. Clear? And let me give examples for all these different oxidation states. Just you remember, for different oxidation states of nitrogen, NH3 is the best example for where -3 oxidation state is observed. Clear? And -2 is observed when it is NH2, NH2. Dear students, I think you know NH3 is ammonia, is it not? And NH2, NH2 is known as hydrazine. You need not worry about the names. Just in this compound, it is exhibiting -2 oxidation state on both these two nitrogens. And then -1, it is nothing but NH2OH. Here it is exhibiting -1 oxidation state. And -1/3, it is HN3, and it is of very important. You remember, this is hydrozoic acid. And in this one, N3 minus is azide ion. Azide ion. In azide ion, if you observe, 3 nitrogen atoms are sharing 1 electron. That is, out of 3 nitrogen atoms, only 1 negative charge is there. As you know, as we know, that oxidation number should be the probable charge per atom. So as it is -1 out of 3 atoms, the charge is -1/3. That's why it is azide ion, and it is from hydrozoic acid. You remember, in this one the oxidation state is -1/3. And 0, as we know, elemental state N2 is having 0 oxidation state, and thereafter it is nothing but from oxides N2O, NO, N2O3, NO2, N2O5. In all these, it is 0, it is +1, +2, +3, +4 and +5. Like that, in these different compounds, nitrogen is able to exhibit this much of variability in its oxidation state. Clear? That is about. And now in this group, one more element we have to discuss, that is nothing but bismuth. And you remember, all these elements are not supposed to exhibit this much of variability. Dear students, are you following? Only the first element exceptionally exhibiting this much. but there is no such type of Hall variability in all the remaining. Just their minimum oxidation state will be -3 and maximum will be +5. And in case of bismuth, we never find -3 oxidation state, because bismuth is a metal. It never accept the electrons. It is ready to donate the electrons. That's why it can exhibit +5 oxidation state. But instead of this, again, it is also exhibiting +3. And I think now you are aware of that. Why it is exhibiting +3 instead of +5? The reason already you know. It is nothing but inert pair effect. And because of this, they are supposed to exhibit +3 oxidation state. Clear? That these are the exceptions in 5th A group. And now coming to 6th A group. In 6th A group, the first element, that is oxygen. Here the exception case is oxygen is supposed to exhibit minimum oxidation state. It is following minimum oxidation rule, but maximum oxidation state is not possible from oxygen. Already we discussed, the reason is nothing but because of absence of d orbital. So now coming to 6th A group elements. What are 6th A group elements? Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Now we are discussing about oxygen. Oxygen minimum oxidation state is -2, and maximum oxidation state, you remember, maximum oxidation state is +2, not more than that. Clear? And now what are the variability? Oxygen, similar to nitrogen, is also able to exhibit -2, -1, -1/2, 0, +1, +2 oxidation states. Just you remember, it is present in O-2. It is considered as normal oxide, and this is O2-2. Two atoms combinedly possess -2. It is known as peroxide. And you remember, this is O2-1. It is known as superoxide. So in normal oxides, oxygen exhibit -2 oxidation state. In peroxides, it exhibit -1 oxidation state, and in superoxides, it exhibit -1/2 oxidation state. Just it is nothing but the charge possessed by two oxygen atoms is -1. Then per each atom, how much of charge will be present? -1/2. That's why it is superoxide. And now coming to 0, where we can find 0 oxidation state? Can you guess? Just it is nothing but from O2. That is nothing but in elemental state. Clear? And now coming to +1, it is beta. These two are only with fluorine. With fluorine element, oxygen can exhibit +1, +2 oxidation state. In case of O2F2, it is with +1 oxidation state, as fluorine is -1, and in case OF2, this is exhibiting +2 oxidation state. That's why generally when oxygen present in any compound with any other element, that compounds are said to be oxides. But in case of fluorine, the compounds when with oxygen are not oxides. Just you remember, they are oxyfluorides, because the negative charge is present on fluorine, not on oxygen. That's why they should considered as oxyfluorides. Just you remember, oxyfluorides. Clear? That is about the oxidation states of oxygen. And now here the remaining elements, mostly they are of their negative oxidation state. Here we can find negative oxidation states, but in these two cases only positive oxidation state is assumed, because as we are going from oxygen to polonium, the metallic nature increases. As the metallic nature increases, the negative oxidation state capacity is decreasing. Clear? You need not worry about that, all this information. If we are moving like that, it will be of in depth. But first, if you are of having thorough idea in this session like this, when in coming chapters, whenever they appear in their respective groups, you will get some more information related to that in addition to this. But dear students, you remember, by that time you should acquaint yourself with all these informations. You should be of that information should be a normal or familiar information to you. It should be like that. Then only you can add some more additional information for that concepts. Clear? That is about. And now coming to 7th A group elements. In case of 7th A group element, the exception is fluorine. Fluorine is able to exhibit minimum oxidation state, and it is not having any positive oxidation state. Here it is 7th A group. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. These are the elements. Here fluorine always exhibit -1 oxidation state. No positive oxidation number. And you remember, in F2 oxidation number is 0 because it is in elemental state. Already we know it is the fundamental rule. When fluorine is in its elemental state, automatically its oxidation state will be 0. Same. Clear? Like that. And now coming to chlorine, bromine and iodine, all these three, they can exhibit -1, 0, +1, +3, +5, +7 maximum oxidation states. And let me give the examples for this. HCl -1, HClO +1, HClO2 +3, HClO3 +5, HClO4 +7. Like that, chlorine is exhibiting, and 0 oxidation state already we know it is in Cl2. In elemental state, any element is supposed to be exhibiting 0 oxidation state. Same to oxygen, chlorine here. But in addition to that, we can observe chlorine exhibiting positive oxidation states like this. That is about the groups, and from that groups, how to predict the oxidation states of the elements. Clear? And now let us discuss about the oxidation states possible in D block elements. Very few. Let us discuss. We need not worry about it because we are having a separate chapter, D block elements, in second year. There you will learn much about that. But here, in case of transition elements, if two stable oxidation states are possible, let me give example. Iron is able to exhibit +2, +3 oxidation states. Similarly, copper, well familiar, these two elements you know, Cu +1, Cu +2. The numbers are not same. That is the minimum. That's why I am considering two stable oxidation state. One is the minimum and the other one is maximum. Here also minimum and maximum. In its oxidation state, relatively minimum maximum, the minimum number is not fixed for all these elements like that of the group elements. For sub-A group elements, what we are considering, the minimum oxidation state is fixed for all the elements. But here in D block, in transition elements we are not doing like that. And now when they are exhibiting two different oxidation states, which is minimum maximum we are considering, the minimum is always, the name always ends with us and maximum with ik. Us, ik. That's why now I think you know the name of this. It is ferrous, it is ferric. Just you remember, minimum ends with us, less us, more with ik. It is less oxidation state, then it ends with us. That's why it is ferrous, ferric. And now can you guess the name of this? Cuprous, and it is cupric. Most these words you know, but you may get confused when cuprous is given whether it is +1 or +2, when ferrous is given whether it is +2 or +3, like that some sort of confusion may be, but here it will be cleared. Less oxidation state of the possible ends with us. Clear? And the same concept now we can apply for tin and lead also, where we are assuming +2, +4 oxidation states, and +2 is because of inert pair effect, is it not? And now in such a case, this +2 is ending with us, thereby it is stannous. Stannous. And now I think you know the name of this. It is stannic. Stannous, stannic. And this is plumbous, and it is plumbic. Like that, when the elements are able to exhibit two variable oxidation states, of that the minimum oxidation state ion name ends with us, and the maximum oxidation state ion name ends with ik. Like that, these are the information that should be known to us so as to calculate the remaining elements oxidation state when they are giving the compounds. Clear? And now students, I am going to provide you a few compounds, and I will underline one element atom for which you have to find the oxidation state. You try on your own with all these rules. For the next session I will explain the oxidation states, how to find that one. But it is better, I think, with all this information, if you are following this regularly, automatically you will be in a position to measure that oxidation states. Clear? And let me give that one. Find the oxidation states of the underlined atoms in the given compound. That is the heading of the problems. Find the oxidation numbers of the underlined atom. Oxidation state of the underlined atom. Now let me give this. It is Na3PO4, and next one is K2MnO4, and next one is Cr2O4 minus 2, and next one is NH4 plus, and next one is C2O4 minus 2, and then next one is K2. It is, let me give like this, Al2 SO4 taken thrice, and then it is here you have to find the oxidation state of sulfur first of all, and then it is Na3AsO3, and then NaAlO2, and then here let me give this Na2S2O3, and then nickel carbonyl. Here you find the oxidation state of nickel. Okay, you try to solve this. Here you have to find phosphorus oxidation state, manganese oxidation state, chromium, nitrogen, carbon C2, and sulfur, arsenic, aluminium, sulfur, nickel. In these compounds you try to find the oxidation state for these elements. Clear? And I will explain how to find it, but it is better don't wait for the result, just you solve on your own. If you are following thoroughly about these concepts, if you are keen in these concepts, you will solve them. You try your own. Clear? Thank you.